What's up guys, the Strong Boys 19 here. This is the next episode for Classic Albums Revisited, and since I'm going to be doing a re-review of this album, I'm going to be doing my review on the classic 1977 studio album from one of my very favourite all-time bands, Kraftwerk, entitled Trans-Europe Express. Trans-Europe Express is the follow-up to Radioactivity, which came out in 1975, and that was the follow-up to arguably the album that brought Kraftwerk up to massive popularity and success, entitled Autobahn. So, out of all of the Kraftwerk albums that I have listened to, I always cited Trans-Europe Express as the #1 favourite, and this is another one of these albums that has been historically a very, very big influential album, because like The Man Machine and Computer World, which are two more later Kraftwerk classics in my opinion, Trans-Europe Express is an album that has been a big influence for many artists, not only from rock, but also from experimental artists to rap and hip-hop. And this album is still, to me, Kraftwerk at their finest. 8 tracks, it's almost 43 minutes. Ralf Hutter and Florian Schneider produced the album. So the album opens up with Europe Endless, and one thing I have to say about the album is that it's probably Kraftwerk's most repetitive sounding album, but once I listen to the album, every time I play it, I ignore that it's repetitive, which it's very common and prominent on this entire album from start to finish. It's, to me, an album like some others. It's taking me to an adventure, and Europe Endless is one of my very favorite Kraftwerk songs. It opens up with a repetitive synth loop, and then it slowly builds and builds. The melody is really great. It's the longest track on the album. It's almost 10 minutes. And I do love Ralph's vocals on this entire album as well. And Europe Endless has some really, really basic but effective simplicity. And besides the key changes that happen throughout the piece, the beat still remains consistent. It never ends. Europe Endless is a very great classic opener. The Hall of Mirrors is a dark sounding song with a lot of these robotic synth noises that's been panning in the background, lots of reverb. Ralph's vocals, he does like some spoken word type of style, and again, it's got some really great synthesizer playing. And it is another long song, almost 8 minutes, but I think it is another strong follow-up to Europe Endless. Showroom Dummies is, well, pretty much the same sound as the Hall of Mirrors, a weirder industrial clock type of beat, which is quite hard to describe, because Kraftwerk are one of those bands that makes instrumentation with unique sounds. And simply for me, why I think Kraftwerk is such an original and special band to me. Trans-Europe Express to Abzug, from the second half of the album. The title track begins with a loop of a sound that is like a train going through the tracks. And again, the beat still remains consistent. The hook on this one is perfect. It never stops, doesn't go into a different key change. It just stays on one spot throughout. David Bowie and Iggy Pop were mentioned on this track, and David Bowie cited Kraftwerk as his favourite band at the time. And to have David Bowie's name mentioned from Kraftwerk, it really is, in my eyes, a great honouring dedication. And even to have Iggy Pop's name in there as well, because he loved Kraftwerk as well. So Trans-Europe Express is another big popular Kraftwerk hit. The title track has been sampled from the generations of the hip-hop scene. Then it goes into a 2-minute brief little instrumental called Metal on Metal, which is pretty much like a lot of clanging and banging of like some pans or something like that. I don't know, but its sound and theme of the album carries on, and Abzug is pretty much like the finale piece, and it's just the words of Trans Europe Express over and over until the piece finishes. And I believe the entire track of Trans Europe Express, including Metal on Metal and Abzug, is around like, I think, 14 or 15 minutes. The way the whole medley ends is the sound of train stopping, which I think is a very cool idea. Franz Schubert, the next track, is one of my all-time favorite instrumentals. It's absolutely beautiful. Like Europe Endless, it sounds positive. It's just gorgeous and joyous. It's got the same similar synthesizer loop, but there's a lot of improvisation, and for some strange reason it's like an imaginative experience that I shut my eyes and I feel that I'm flying everywhere to some open land that I've never seen before, like a lot of sea down below and different hills and fields around me. I don't know why I had to describe it like that, but it's the way how I feel when I listen to this track. And then it finishes with Endless, Endless, which is just those two words repeated until it fades. So Trans Europe Express finishes the album on a positive note. Trans Europe Express is an album that brings you a lot of joy, and the Darkness tracks takes you to a different space and time, and that's just incredible. And I absolutely still love this album so much. Ralf Hutter, Florian Schneider, Karl Bartos and Wolfgang Flür all worked extremely hard. Their contributions on this album were perfect and very strong, and this is still, to me, Kraftwerk at their greatest. So let me know what you think of the album down in the comments below, and tell me which Kraftwerk album is your favourite. Is it Trans Europe Express, or is it some of the other ones? Just let me know. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll keep you guys posted for more videos in the near future.